As I'm sure all of you know by now, Phantom Resistance, which is just Phantom Forces Zombies, is now in paid access for 250 Robux. What you might not know is how the game works though. Lucky for you, I've spent a lot of time playing the game, and I mean a lot. So you don't have to. Also, as a preface, I am making this video under the assumption that you have played Phantom Forces. If you haven't, check out either Strider's or Moon's beginner guides for the game, then come back here once you're done. For the final disclaimer, this game is under constant development. There's a high chance that something I mention now will change later, but if it does, I'll try and mention it in the pinned comment. With all that out of the way, let's get to it. So, the first thing you're going to see when you join is this lobby. To get into a game, you just need to get into one of the 10 elevators marked by the map above it. These maps are Arthur's Castle, the Cabin, and Noct Compound. I might go over these maps individually in their own separate videos, but they're not the focus right now. The current limit for elevators is 4 players to my knowledge, so you can't have any more players in a single match. The lobby also has a couple of designated random elevators that place you in a random map. On top of that, there are 2 secret elevators where you need to do a few jumps in order to reach them. The first one is here with these mounted animal heads, and you can see the path like this. And at the end of this path is a second floor room with another random map elevator. The second secret elevator is much cooler though, so let's go. To get there, you need to go into the fireplace, and you'll notice that there's actually a set of jumps you can do to get to the top. Once you're all the way up here, you'll notice a secret elevator which will bring you to a secret map, the Tower of Pain. With the lobby out of the way, let's talk about your stats in the top right. For now, the only things you can see are your level, vaults, and credits. Your level goes up when you get XP by doing things in-game, such as killing a zombie or getting an assist. You get credits at the end of a game, where they're given based on these stats. You can also buy these with vaults, but that's not really worth it considering how easy credits are to get, as you can see here. And speaking of which, there's vaults. These can be used to self-revive when you get downed, or something else I'll bring up later. Right now, all vault purchases cost 10 Robux, including the most expensive one, so if you want, you can definitely buy it. However, since the game is still in pre-alpha, that means all your stats can be fully wiped at any time, and they are guaranteed to be wiped when the game releases. So if you do buy vaults, just keep that in mind. And if you have your other stats reset, don't be surprised. Well, I've gone over everything in a hub, so let's get to the actual game. The first thing you'll notice is that something is off. And yeah, it is. At the time that I'm writing this script, there isn't any support for carrying over settings yet, so you start with a default Phantom Forces setting, which does get a little annoying. Just make sure you set everything up to your own settings as soon as possible, otherwise it won't feel right. I will mention that your settings do not save when your game ends and you try to join a new one, so you have to do this every time. However, your keybinds do save, so at least those don't need to be changed after the first time. So now that your settings are properly set up, let's talk about the basics. You spawn in with an M9. And just like all the other popular zombie games, you can either buy guns off of walls or from mystery boxes, which I'll talk about later. You start off with the M9, the default knife, and 3 M67 frag grenades. Something you might have noticed is just how much reserve ammo you have on your gun. This is because you actually get double the regular reserve ammo on every gun in game, that way it takes longer to run out of ammo. Of course, you wouldn't run out of ammo without enemies to shoot at, so let's talk about those. In the first wave, you'll have 2 separate enemies. First, there's the basic zombie. These deal 20 damage and are fairly easy to kill. The second enemy type is a runner, which deals 15 damage. It has less health than a typical zombie, but also has a slightly faster walk speed, hence the name. You can tell these two apart pretty easily based on the purple shirts the runners have. There is a third extremely rare zombie called Zero, which deals 80 damage and has a randomized walk speed between 8 and 19, but those are so rare that they aren't really a problem in the early game. There are more zombie types, but I'll go over those later. For now, these are the only ones you have to worry about. After a minute, once you've killed most of the zombies in the wave, you're gonna notice the final 5 enemies have their name tags become visible through walls. That way you can kill them and get the round to end faster. Once you kill those last 5 enemies, you'll enter a 20-second intermission phase between waves, which you can see in the bottom right corner. The bottom right hand corner also lists the wave you're on along with the amount of time spent in the current game. You'll also see a level next to your gun, but that won't matter for now. What does matter is right above this, which is your points, designated by the Omega symbol. You can get these points from a lot of things, but your main source will be damaging and killing enemies. You earn 10 points for every hit on an enemy, plus a certain number for the kill, which varies depending on the type of zombie you killed. For now, your main use for these points will be unlocking new areas, and maybe buying a gun from a wall if you don't want to run out of ammo. Once you unlock a new area, you're also going to unlock a cool new thing like a vending machine, attachment table, ammo refill station, or upgrade table. There's just one issue. You can't use them yet. This is because in Phantom Resistance, all objects must be powered on to use them. To power them on, you have to find one of the power boxes and hold E over it to turn on the power for 5 minutes. Some maps have different time, but for the most part it's 5 minutes. This will cost you a few points, so if you want to buy something, make sure you have enough for both the power and the item you want. Otherwise, you won't have enough for the thing you want once you turn the power on. Since I brought these up first though, let's talk about the vending machines first. Currently there are only 2 of these, so let's go over them. The first, and in my opinion better vending machine, is Phantom Energy, which gives you 50% more health for 2,000 points. The second one is Deja Blue, also for 2,000 points, which buffs your health regen speed as well as how long it takes for regen to kick in. These are extremely important, especially in the later waves, so make sure you get these as soon as possible. Also, if you get down, they will be removed, so don't forget to buy these back. The next thing I mentioned was attachment tables. There are 5 unique kinds of attachment tables scattered across every map, corresponding to 5 attachment slots, those being optics, barrel, underbarrel, other, and ammo. When you hold E to interact with one, for a price of 1,000 points you're given the option to use 3 randomized attachments from the category, leave without selecting, or enter the attachment shop for 250 credits. From here, you can buy attachments that you've unlocked with credits, or some that you haven't unlocked with vaults. To unlock attachments, all you need to do is use the gun, which levels the gun up, and that's what the level means. It's super easy, so it isn't really worth buying with vaults. Next up are the ammo refill stations. Now, I'm gonna put this bluntly, these are complete garbage right now. When you have a gun with no upgrades, if it's a wall gun, it's actually cheaper to buy the ammo from the wall. If the gun is upgraded though, the price is better than wall gun, but it's still so absurdly high that it's better to just wait and upgrade instead of just wasting the points. Since I'm on the topic of wall guns, I think I should talk about them a little bit. When you load into a match, the wall guns aren't actually as random as you might think. Sure, some wall guns are completely random, but not all of them. For the most part, wall guns in the same spot will usually be the same weapon class when you restart. If you know where a wall gun is for a class of gun you want, it might be worth it to restart until you get that specific gun, depending on how many guns are actually in a weapon class. For example, if I wanted to get a unique battle rifle or revolver, it would be pretty easy to get what I wanted. However, if I want to get a unique PDW, I would be trying for a very long time. There's also some wall guns that have guaranteed weapons, or just seemingly any weapon. Wall guns are extremely useful in both the early and late game, but because of price inflation from upgrading, it's mainly useful for the early game. And yeah, I just mentioned it, so let's talk about my favorite part of the entire game, the upgrade system. As of right now, every weapon except for grenades can be upgraded. These upgrades can range from damage to reload speed to mag size. There's also unique upgrades for a knife, such as increasing how many enemies can be hit with one attack, since the knife only starts off being able to damage one enemy at a time. Also, zombies count towards your gun's penetration, so if you're using a low penetration gun, you won't be able to shoot through a horde, so you'll want to upgrade penetration. After every upgrade, your weapon gets a little plus sign next to it in the bottom right, and each upgrade also increases your weapon's damage by 10% on top of whatever you upgraded. Now this sounds great already, but it gets better. There's actually no real limits to how much you can upgrade for now, so you can specialize any gun to do anything, like making a Zip 22 that insta-kills, or a BFG that has a 10-round magazine somehow. Truly, the possibilities are endless. However, being able to do this constantly is obviously very powerful, so to balance it out, for every upgrade level, it costs an additional 1,000 points to upgrade, starting off at 1,000 points for first upgrade. For additional balancing, you don't actually get a full choice of your upgrades, instead being given the choice between 3 random upgrades, and an option to see a hidden 4th one for 15 vaults. Also, like I said earlier, these upgrades do increase the cost of refilling ammo to an absurd degree, so try to upgrade your guns instead, that way you can make the best use of your points, because if you didn't know, upgrading your gun actually refills your ammo. But how are you going to get ammo in the meantime when you're not upgrading? Well, that's where power-ups come in. Much like other zombie games, Phantom Resistance also has power-ups that are randomly dropped by zombies. Currently, the list of power-ups are max ammo, insta-kill, double points, and nuke. The first 3 are self-explanatory, and nuke kills all spawned enemies. Just a little life hack for nuke, the limit for how many enemies can be spawned is 40 per map, so if you get a nuke around like 70, you should probably hold off using nuke until you get to 40. For another personal suggestion, it might actually help you to avoid picking up nukes and insta-kills for the most part, since both will make it harder to get points. Nukes will give you 20 points per enemy killed, but that's way lower than what you could have gotten if you just killed them with a gun. As for insta-kills, you're missing out on 10 points per hit since you just killed the enemy on the first hit. That just about sums up the basic mechanics, so now I'm gonna move on to the later game stuff, and what better than the most important thing, how to win. In order for you to win, you need to complete an extraction. There is only one extraction point per map, which I will go over in the individual map videos, so don't worry about that for now. For time being, all you need to know is the price and how to spot them. Their appearance is different on every map, but they share a green outline to stand out more. As for the price, in order to extract, you're going to need to spend 45,000 points at the extraction point. To make it easier for co-op, this is split up in payments of 5,000 so everyone can chip into the total. Once you get all 45,000 points, you're going to see a dome appear and tell you to kill enemies in the extraction zone. Now you might be confused by the bar at the top, but that actually represents damage, so you'll have to deal that much damage to enemies to successfully extract. Because of this, you're definitely going to want to upgrade your damage ahead of time. Don't worry though, if you run out of ammo, you can always leave the extraction zone and your progress will not be reset. Just make sure you go back once you get your ammo, otherwise the damage won't count. Once you've finally extracted, your round performance is going to be evaluated and you'll be awarded credits depending on how well you did. I flashed this image on screen briefly at the start, but this time I'm actually going to go over it in depth. So as we can see, after playing for 250 waves, I got basically nothing from assists, revives, upgrades, repairs, doors, or extracted points. Also, considering I spent 10 hours in the game, the reward for total time survived is pretty bad too. We can see the real moneymaker here is in the damage though. You might notice that you only get 0.1% of your damage as credits at the end of the round, but don't worry. Remember what I said about there being no limit to upgrades? That means you can upgrade damage as high as you want. So if I upgrade my gun to deal 1,000,000 damage per shot, I'll be earning 1,000 credits for every single shot I hit. So if you want to earn credits for whatever reason, this is the way you do it. What if you don't want to extract as quickly as possible though? What if you want to see how long you can survive before dying or getting bored? Well, you're in luck. There are actually unique zombies that pop up until wave 50, so let's go over them all. You already know about the basic zombie, runner, and zero, but what else is there? I'm glad nobody asked. The next zombie you unlock is a tank at wave 5. The tank is a zombie wearing red American football gear that deals 25 damage per hit and has significantly more health than the average zombie. 2 waves later at wave 7, you'll be getting your first experience with the green slimes. Green slimes are pretty similar to hellhounds in the sense that they show up every once in a while. For slimes, they show up every 7th wave. Fun fact by the way, these are the only mob at the moment that are not the typical Roblox humanoid. They deal 19 damage per hit for whatever reason, and are pretty easy to kill, especially since their entire hitbox counts as a torso. However, they are smaller, and if you're trying to go knife only, they are pretty hard to hit. Right after that, at wave 10, you unlock the ghost. Ghosts are semi-transparent blue, so they're pretty hard to see, but once you do spot them, they're fairly easy to kill. They also deal only 15 damage, so they aren't much of an issue if you know what to look for. Remember the runners? Well, if you're like me, you probably thought they were a bit slow for that to be their name. It seems like the devs thought that too, since at wave 12, you get the sprinter. These zombies are basically amplified runners with an even faster walk speed and dealing 25 damage instead of 15 damage dealt by hunters. Of course, this does mean they have lower health to compensate, so as long as you spot them before they're right next to you, you should be fine. The runners aren't the only zombies to have upgraded versions though. By wave 15, you unlock the heavy tank. These are just like the basic tanks, except they have much more health, making them harder to kill, and they deal a whopping 35 damage. They're also much faster, but don't worry, they're pretty easy to tell apart from normal tank thanks to their football gear being purple instead of red, so make sure you avoid getting hit by these at all costs, otherwise you're going to be getting killed pretty quickly. You're especially going to want to be careful after round 20 though. This is the first round to introduce more than one new zombie variant, and they are the Ghoul and Uber Tank. The Ghoul is basically an upgraded basic zombie dealing 25 damage compared to the zombie's 20, as well as having more health and walk speed than the basic zombie. Similarly, the Uber Tank deals an insane 45 damage, 10 more than heavy tanks and 20 more than the regular tanks. To stand out, Uber Tanks have bright yellow football gear, and the Ghouls have more vibrant green skin than zombies. Also, up until now, zombies have been the most common mob type, but from this point onwards, ghouls will be showing up more often. Luckily, these are the last zombies in a while, so you can calm down until wave 40. Once you get there though, you're gonna have to fight another new mob, the Demon. These are basically another upgraded zombie or ghoul, but this time they do 35 damage. Of course, they also have more health and walk speed, and just like ghouls, they become even more common than a basic zombie and about as common as ghouls. Not counting ghosts, these are first zombies to have a different skin color, that being a bright red, so demons are extremely easy to spot and kill before they become an actual problem. Finally, at wave 50, you find the last mob type, the Spectre. Just like all the other high wave zombies, these are an upgrade of an existing mob, and based on appearances, this is obviously an upgraded ghost. As to be expected, Spectres have more health and walk speed and deal more damage, doing 25 damage compared to Ghost 15. It's visually distinct from the ghosts because, unlike the ghosts which are transparent blue, Spectres are transparent red. And that's all the zombies so far. Again, if anything new has been added, I'll put it up on screen right now. There's one thing I haven't mentioned though, and that's exactly how much health zombies have. I do have a good reason for not mentioning this though, and that's because the zombies actually gain health after every wave. This makes it so you basically have to upgrade your guns, otherwise they'll become unkillable, and waves will last forever, so make sure you keep that in mind. Next up, let's talk about mystery boxes. Currently, mystery boxes will give you a random gun in game, however there is a chance to give you a wonder weapon. For the time being though, the only wonder weapons available are super tester guns, or as many of you know them, mod guns. Now I'm gonna be pretty straightforward about this. These aren't ideal. Sure, they're cool to use in an actual gameplay setting instead of weapon labs, but that's basically all. When it comes to fam resistance though, super tester guns are far from the best choice. In fact, I'd go as far as to say they're actually a bad choice. So what are some good choices for guns to upgrade? In my opinion, you should stick with either a shotgun or LMG, but preferably an MLG. Bro, what? LMG, not MLG. What the fuck am I talking about? The brain rise consumed me. Anyways, plenty of people will talk about how good the knife is, but with enemies that can take away a quarter of your health in one hit, it becomes extremely risky. The reason I suggest you stick with an LMG is because, like I said earlier, there's no upgrade limit. So really, any gun you use can become a one-shot kill. That begs a question though. If I can make any gun insta-kill enemies, do I really have a reason to use something like a sniper or DMR when I can use an LMG and get infinitely more reserve ammo from the start? The answer is, of course, no. It will take you longer to upgrade the damage, sure, but in the end, the LMGs are always the best choice. To be more specific, I suggest using the M60, HK21E, MGV176, Stoner 96, or Chainsaw. All 5 of these weapons have magazine sizes of 100 or higher, along with 400 or more reserve ammo, making them extremely powerful in the late game. If you upgrade your reserve ammo though, you can get to a point where you can safely rely on max ammo drop to refill your ammo, and you no longer need to upgrade to get more ammo. Let's think back to something else I mentioned though. Remember when I said insta-kill power-ups were bad because it made you get way less points per kill? Well yeah, that actually applies to your guns when you upgrade them to be insta-kill too. So what? Are you just screwed once you upgrade your gun too much since you can't get points to upgrade it more? Not exactly. If you get one of those LMGs I mentioned as a wall gun, I highly recommend buying a second one that you never upgrade. You can probably figure out where I'm going with this, but I'll explain it anyways. Since every hit on an enemy gives you 10 points, and since the enemies get more health with every wave, a base level gun would be able to give you a lot of points. On top of that, most of those LMGs have decent base penetration, so you can usually hit 2 enemies per bullet. So let's just say you were using Stoner. With a 100 round mag and 400 reserve, you'd have 500 total bullets. If you hit 2 enemies with every single bullet, this would be able to give you 10,000 points total before running out of ammo, and that doesn't even count the points you get when you kill the enemies. But what happens when you run out of ammo? Well, here's the best part. If it's a wall gun and you haven't upgraded it, you can refill your ammo for a very low price. This essentially just gives you infinite points, so long as you're careful and don't get hit. What happens when you do get hit and down though? If you're in a co-op with another person or people, you can be revived simply by having another player stand over you without them needing to hold any keys. This means they can actually shoot at enemies while reviving you, instead of needing to kill everything before reviving you. Also, every time a teammate runs over you, the revive timer gets reset, so if things are chaotic, they just need to walk next to you and run away to keep you alive while they deal with the enemies. If you're playing completely solo though, you're able to press J to bring up the self-revive menu, then Y to confirm the purchase for 40 vaults, or N to deny it. Even if you get revived though, you will still need to buy back your power-ups from vending machines, so make sure you do that as soon as possible. If your teammate didn't manage to revive you though, don't worry, you're not completely out of the game yet. After the wave ends, you'll be spawned back in at the start of the intermission phase. Unfortunately, you will lose all your items, meaning you have to work back from the start, but if you do the LMG wall buy strat, you can get points back in no time. And yeah, that's basically all I could think of for basic overview of the game. Like I said at the start of the video, I absolutely plan on making a video going over every map one by one, but this video got way too long already, and if I decide to focus on every map, this video would have taken way longer to make, meaning more information would be outdated, and I probably would have had to update everything about the video. Just as a little sneak peek, these are 2 things I'm working on for the individual map videos, so hopefully you can tell why it would have taken a while. Also, if any of this information helped, feel free to subscribe. I upload weekly Phantom Forces videos, and I'm also going to be uploading a few more videos on Phantom Resistance, so either way I hope my channel has something that interests you. Also, if you enjoyed the video, leave a like, and if I missed anything or got anything wrong, leave it in a comment so I can mention it in the next Phantom Resistance video. Other than that, goodbye, and I hope I'll see some of you next week.